Because the only thing that can really make a difference that is lasting is then when you see all the components of it, right? Because you're trying to construct a whole new worldview, a whole new reality. But I dare say one that's drawing from your own traditions. And I'll say it more clearly, the best of your traditions. Because you could say there are certain traditions that we did or of it that we need to leave alone. That's true of any culture or any nation of people. But what's the best, and even the great, and I do say great because I have great respect for him as well, Dr. Milena Karenga, who says, you know, you're supposed to draw from the best of Africa, the best of African traditions, put forward the best of what that means. So if certain things that need to be doing, whether it's people bringing up issues of excision or female circumcision and things like that they'll say is practiced in some African societies, I would agree that may be going on for hundreds of years or thousands of years, but it's not something necessarily needs to be continued, right? But, and that's just my personal opinion. Other people may have a different opinion. I don't agree with that practice of excision or so-called circumcision for women. But I do think that when you're talking about the best of African cultures, respect for the elders, recognizing the interdependence and interconnection of all things, which means you have a greater respect for nature or nature. It means that you clearly know that I'm important because we are important. The communalistic view versus the individualistic view. The desire to remain in harmony with nature, right? Those are just a few examples of what we would say were part of a traditional African worldview. The extended family versus the nuclear family construct. That's why customarily, I mean, how long we've been calling each other brothers and sisters, right? This idea of recognizing, even when I went to visit family back home in Bermuda for the first time when I was a child, everybody calls everybody cousin. They were like, "What's up, cousin?" And I was like, "Cousin?" Right? Some people joke and say, well, it's because the country is so small, everybody is a cousin, because everybody's so related. But the other piece is, it has to do with our particular value system, our axiology, that you are an extension of me. So I'm trying to do what I can to make it in the world, but without causing you much or any harm if possible. And I certainly see your value. I'm not going to devalue you because you look like me. What am I saying about myself, right? If I do that. So the term Black is no different than the term Negro. And so if somebody is using the term Black, say, well, if you spoke Spanish, you'd be calling yourself a Negro. Do you accept Negro? And 99% of them obviously would say no, right? So like I say again, just say if you don't want to get with the Moor thing, as some people say, at least get with reason and say you're an African. I mentioned when we spoke a little earlier about there was something known as the All African People's Party that I was introduced to when I was in graduate school. And there was a sister and brother in Philadelphia who were members, and they were basically saying the same thing. And they weren't Moors. They were trying to tell people, look, you're African. Yeah, you're born in North Philly. You're an African living in North Philly, right? You're African living in Newark, right? And at the time, they had some success, but very little, because people wanted to be Black. Why? Because Black in their minds was better than being an African. I go back to what I said before. The self-hatred, I would argue, is coming more from the person, this is my argument, who says that they don't understand why you don't use the word Black. and them not being, having the, people say, flipping the script and saying, but for you, why don't you just call yourself an African? Well, because I don't want to affirm the fact that this is, being of a darker hue is good. I know that being of a darker hue is good because the people of Africa basically represent the same thing. Do you have to push that? Does a Chinese person have to affirm yellow when they're arguing their value, or the yellow complexion of their skin or what have you, if that's going to continue to use these color names, right? To me, it's not a very consistent argument. Just call yourself African. And certainly, do you need to be calling somebody white if you really believe that they're not superior to you?